You're listening to The Political Dive.
Red Raiders, it's Mateo Rosilis with the Daily Toreador, and we're on the Political Dive. I'm joined by
Amanda Hampton.
And your position here is?
I'm the La Vida editor.
Perfect. And we bring you the special edition of the Political Dive. Amanda, do you want to explain about it?
So for this podcast series, we will be interviewing SGA candidates to discuss with them their platforms that they're running on and just the goals that they have for when they're elected, if they're elected to office.
So you're about to hear several candidates' interviews that we have done throughout this podcast, and they had the chance to come on board and to speak about their platforms. They were all asked the same questions, and they were all reached out to in a timely manner, and they all have the same opportunity to come on to this podcast. This is the first episode of a two-part series, and so we're still waiting for several of the candidates to reach out or to decline coming on or just to let us know when they want to record. But yeah, here's the podcast. So what is your name, major, and position you're running for?
So my name is Channing Wicks. My major is graphic design, so I'm in the VPA, but I'm actually running for an at-large senator position. So
Perfect. And what made you run for the Senate this year?
So I think something big that I really want to do is to be able to represent students that maybe don't know what SGA is, or especially I think being from when I first think of SGA, and I think a lot of people do, they first think of students who want to go into law or politics or poli-sci majors, all of those things. And for me, it was one of those things that I was I can be creative and still want to make an impact on campus and be able to represent that body of students. And so I'm super excited just to be able to do that again this year, hopefully, and just be able to represent our student body and also just learn more about what students want to see on campus. So.
And what made you run for an at-large senator rather than a college senator?
Yeah, for sure. So I last year was kind of debating, do I run for VPA or do I run at large? And just felt like at large I could have a little bit more of an impact. I'm involved in a lot of different areas on campus, and so I felt that if I were to run at large, I would maybe have the ability to have a greater voice in Student Government Association and just be able to represent the student body well. So yeah.
Okay. And then what are your goals that you want to achieve while in the Senate?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like goals come and go every single day. There's always a new challenge, especially I feel like 2020 was an example of that, all these different changes that were going on and happening. And so currently I feel like I'm working on things such as I'm working on a piece this week talking about free menstrual products on campus in the public restrooms. And so Noelle Sloan, the CFO, is currently working on that. And it's something that I want to continue to have. It's not in 1 week we're going to do this thing. So that's something I would want to continue if I am re-elected into a Senate spot. And then as well as something that I'm running on is just, I think, DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion is something that maybe not everyone obviously's eyes have been open to things that maybe we didn't see before in this last year, and that's something that I am wanting to have my eyes open to as well, learn new perspectives from people that I'm not in their shoes or they're not in my shoes, and just be able to take away the biases for each other and sit down and have a conversation of, hey, how can I help you have a better experience at Texas Tech?
Of course. And then what platforms are you running on this time?
Yeah, for sure. So kind of like I said, diversity, equity, and inclusion as a whole, and that's something that I think SGA can do a better job of. I think we've passed certain things this past semester or this past year that I could talk about, but I think that that's something that we continually can get better at. We're never going to be perfect, but we can always continue to get better and hear the voices of students, as well as affordability. And so I mentioned free menstrual products. That's something that I'm working on now and hope to work on more in the future. as well as I know the Jarrett Lujan is running for graduate vice president, and he wants to work on something that might not apply to me, but him more so that I can help with legislation is insurance for like international and graduate students, and that's not something I've experienced because I'm not a graduate student, but something that I think I could help with being an at-large senator. So,
okay, perfect. And then what challenges do you think you'll face next semester?
Yeah, for sure. I think one of the most challenging things of student government is, I think especially being an at-large senator, is having so many different opinions, and everyone believes something different, which is totally okay. But pulling all of those opinions and perspectives into view and figuring out what's best for the student body and communicating with the deans and with administration in order to make the voices of the students heard, but also make the best decision for the students is what's challenging, because not everyone's going to be happy with every decision. I might be like, wait, we're making what decision? You know, like, and so just being like, okay, we're going to do what's best for the students. And yeah, just like being able to make the voices of all the students heard, which is hard, but I think right now, like, we might be showing like 20% of the voices of the 45,000 students, but maybe we want to get to 60% by this next year. And so that's something that I think is a challenge and is hard for sure, but something that I would love to do as a senator. So.
And then what can you offer the students on campus for next semester?
Yeah, for sure. I think I kind of, like I mentioned earlier, being in just a different realm of people, like I'm not going pre-law and I'm not wanting to go into politics or anything like that, but I think I have perspectives that maybe someone else might not understand, and being like, oh, you know, like I want to go into a creative field, and these are things that affect VPA students. While they may not affect rural students, they might affect them. And so I think that's something that's different that I can offer, a different perspective, but I also think I'm willing to listen to absolutely anyone's perspective, and I'm also will be honest and transparent with things that I'm working on, and hey, like, I am struggling with this initiative, or I want to work on this, but I don't quite know how to do it. Can you help me? And so I think I have the ability to be vulnerable and transparent and just ask students, hey, what can I do for you? And I hope that they see that I want to do that for them. So.
Perfect. And then are you part of any of the coalitions that are happening around campus right now? Like any of those groups that are forming together as a block, or?
Yeah, so I'm currently a part of, it's called Raiderland Renewed. And so I believe that's the only block as a whole that is running. And so I am really thankful that I had the opportunity to be on a block. And so, yes, I am part of that. And so kind of some of the initiatives I mentioned, they're running on and have a lot more ideas. The executive team does for sure. And so, yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
And what else would you like to add?
I'm trying to think. I feel like student government association is something that a lot of people don't know a ton about and would love to just be more transparent with the student body. And so it's been harder with COVID, obviously, just like having that openness, but we can't have all people together, you know, like, but we did have a town hall on Zoom last semester. And so I think wanting to continue those and just continue hearing perspectives from students and hearing what they would like. And, you know, I would love to hear like, hey, I hear you're running for at-large. Please DM me on Instagram and be like, hey, could you work on this? Because there's things that maybe I don't see. And I also this past year have been the advisor for first year council. So it's been really helpful to hear the perspectives of students living on campus, because they have a totally different perspective. I have a different perspective this year than I did living on campus last year. And so just allowing their opinions and their perspectives to also come into play has been super helpful. And so I think just continuing to do that will be really helpful. So I'm excited, and yeah, hopefully it'll be a good year.
Perfect.
So,
thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
No, you're good.
Okay, I'm Abigail Jabor. I'm majoring in math with a minor in natural science, and then also philosophy and Spanish are my other majors.
Awesome. Okay, so what made you want to run for the Senate?
So I'm running for Arts and Sciences Senator because I've lived in Lubbock my whole life. I've been like a part of the Lubbock community, the tech community for forever. And I've never really been directly involved other than, being a student. And I've just decided that I want to be more involved and help like make decisions that really affect campus in a positive way, just because I've never had that type of impact, and I would like to be able to say that I've like done something to benefit tech.
Yeah, for sure. And then what are your goals that you have while in the Senate?
So obviously I'm with the block, the only block this year, which is Raiderland Renewed. So I have like those ideologies as them, but like I also have my own ideas that I want to go for. So I really have noticed, like this was even before COVID, like there's not that many water fountains that are nice on campus. There are like a couple of those really nice like water filtered ones where you don't have to like touch it or anything. And there's just not those in the library or some other locations that I feel like could really benefit having those, because Lubbock water is kind of like, and people don't really like it all that much. So I think that would really benefit a lot of people, especially with COVID. They've shut down a lot of water fountains, and who knows what it's going to be like next semester. Like I think that we should definitely figure something out with water and making it accessible to students while they're on campus, because some people probably have to be here all day. And like luckily for me, I work on campus, so I have access to water, like filtered water and stuff, but like other people don't. So I definitely want to figure out something maybe with like water bottles, or I don't know, just getting something with water figured out, because water is really important. And also recycling. The recycling has closed at Tech, and I think it would be really cool to start something up with recycling. I doubt that recycling center would open again, but maybe if we could do like recycling drives on campus and raise some money to be able to donate that, because you have to pay to recycle in Lubbock. Like it's already so hard to recycle, and now that the Tech one is closed, I definitely think that SGA should look into something with recycling on campus.
Got you. And then what platforms are you running on?
So there's all the platforms with my campaign, which is like affordability, transparency, diversity, equity, and inclusion, all that good stuff.
Okay. Sounds good. And what can you offer the students on campus?
I think I can offer the students like a common face. I feel like a lot of the people involved in SGA like want to be lawyers, or like want to do other things involved with politics, but like I just want to help Tech, and like obviously other SGA members do too, but like I really just want to be in SGA to really further Tech, and like I feel like I would just be more of like a common type person in SGA, if that makes sense. Like I'm not like all the rest, in the sense that like I am like really good at politics and stuff like that. Like I think I would be more of like a kind of like casual person in there who would be able to offer insight from like other students.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, that was good. And then what challenges do you think you'll face next semester?
My biggest fear is definitely that like the stuff that I try to do won't be possible, or that what I want to do won't happen. And that would definitely be pretty disappointing, but as long as I try my hardest, like I'd be pretty happy. But it would be kind of sad if like I really can't do any of the stuff that I want to.
Yeah. And then are you a part of any coalition? And if so, what platform are they running on?
My personal platforms are like recycling, student wellness, like mental health, especially with COVID and everything. So that's a big thing. And then those are also like mental health, wellness in general is part of the blog's campaign with Raiderland Renewed. Like food pantries and stuff like that. So those are what my blog is running on. Like I said, diversity, equity, and inclusion, transparency, stuff like that.
Okay. Well, that was all the questions that I have. Was there anything else that you wanted to add?
No, not really.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Can I get your name, major, and the position you're running for?
Yes. So my name is Disha Ganjegunte. I am a nutritional science major, and I'm minoring in theater, acting, chemistry, and biology. And I'm running to be College of Human Sciences senator.
Perfect. And what made you run for the Senate position?
Oh, that's a great question. So my journey with SGA started a little bit before I entered as a freshman into college, and I was a part of this program called Camp Lead, and a lot of the counselors who were my counselors were a part of Student Government Association. So once I came in as a freshman, I knew that I really wanted to be a part of it, and I joined the Freshman Leadership Association through Student Government Association, and I interned with the Director of Communications, who at the time was Alex Todd. So then the next year I ran for Senate position through student government, and I got into this study abroad program that I wanted to do, and then I had to like sort of not campaign as hard because I probably wasn't going to be able to be a senator just because I was going to be studying abroad. But then unfortunately, COVID-19 happened. And so the beginning of the semester last year, I wasn't a senator. But then halfway through the semester, I got an email from SGA and they told me that they had a spot open to be a senator. And I interviewed, and for the rest of the semester, I had the honor of being a College of Human Sciences senator. So I sort of wanted to continue what I was working on and have the opportunity to make more of an impact and represent the students at the college. And I would love to do that this semester and this coming up year.
Perfect. And then what are your goals while in the Senate if you do become elected?
Yes, of course. So my goals for this year, if I was given the opportunity, would be to really stress affordability. So right now for undergraduate students, the average cost of textbooks is about $800 to $1,200. And even though in the scope of things that is a lot of money, a lot of students are having to make a decision between education or paying their rent. And we don't want it to be that way. So SGA right now, or the block that I'm running with, which is Raiderland Renewed, is really striving to be a part of like inclusive access for textbooks. So even though they aren't specific textbooks that the teacher wants, to just give like a resource for students who can't afford the specific textbooks to be able to still learn and get a couple more resources to help them with their classes. With graduate students, that's another problem entirely with affordability for insurance. And I know that once you turn 26 years old, you get off of your parents' insurance. So that's a problem that has existed for a couple of years. And hopefully this year we'll be able to come up with a good solution and make sure that international students also get good insurance coverage and that there are different options provided for graduate students. Along with affordability, I want to make sure that there's diversity, inclusivity, and equality. So we're making sure to have sort of a lift others while you climb approach to student government. So not only will we be voicing the opinions of our constituents, but also we want to make sure that as we make a difference, we also help the other students who are in charge of different organizations across campus also I guess give them the resources to also make a difference on a wider platform, just because there are so many different perspectives in education and experiences that each student on our campus has, and to give them the opportunity while we're given the opportunity would be the end goal. We want to make sure that the wellness of all the Texas Tech students is met, so not only in a mental capacity, but also physically. So we're making sure that we raise money for the food pantries on campus, as well as just give them resources for mental wellness, and just make sure that everyone who's on the tech campus feels taken care of.
Perfect. And then what can you offer the students on campus?
What can I offer the students on campus? I think first and foremost, I want to be able to be there and listen to any concerns they have. This semester, we're really working on being more transparent and accessible to students. So if given the chance, I would more than be happy to meet with any students who are in my college, or even if they're not in my college and I could help them connect to someone who was in their college. So make sure that they know what SGA is working on. All that information is available and has always been available on the SGA website, but also look for ways to make it a little bit simpler to access, or just be able to have all of the members of Texas Tech University all be on the same page. So I think I would work really hard to listen to them and be able to express their concerns during town hall meetings on a one-on-one basis. And I would make sure that whatever issues did come up my way, that I went to the people who I had access to and really used all the resources I had to make a difference.
And then what challenges do you think you will face coming into next semester or next school year?
Oh, this is a very good question. So obviously we're in a global pandemic and that has never happened before. So next semester, hopefully with things getting better, we don't know what the future will hold, but in case we ever do get the opportunity to sort of get past the major barriers that the COVID pandemic has, I guess, created, we would need to be able to sort of create a new normal. And we've seen all of the inequalities and things that need to be fixed, that COVID-19 has sort of brought to our attention, and all of the inequalities and problems that existed even before COVID was a thing. So I think that would be like not a big problem, but it would be a challenge that we would work together to overcome and create new solutions for.
Perfect. And then you mentioned that you're part of a block. What else is the block running on that you know of?
Raiderland Renewed is the block that I'm a part of, and along with the issues that I talked about previously, they are also trying to do more with the food pantry. So we know that right in the past couple of semesters, we've asked students for donations, and we really want to expand the food pantry not only through what's available to the students, but also create an endowed student scholarship. So where we can give students and give the opportunity to students to apply for the scholarship and allow them to apply for money to put towards rent. So that way, not only are they at Texas Tech and getting a good education, but they know that we care for them as an individual. And hopefully in the long term, that would increase retention rates. So that's something else that the block has been working with. This semester, we've been doing a lot of virtual work and social distance events where we're handing out wellness packets and mental illness resources, just because we know that this pandemic has been a hard place for students to be mentally and class-wise, and we want to make sure that Texas Tech continues to provide a quality, holistic approach to education.
Perfect. And would you like to add anything else before we conclude?
Well, thank you for giving me this opportunity. I love getting to learn different perspectives, and I think the Daily Toreador is such a great resource for not only learning about different events that are happening through the Texas Tech campus, but also to learn what the different organizations that you elect us to do are doing for the students. So this was a great opportunity, and I really thank you for your time.
Perfect. And well, thank you so much for coming on.
So my name is Brinkley Rash. I'm a journalism major with a minor in political science, and I'm currently running as an at-large senator for Texas Tech.
Okay, awesome. So what made you run for the Senate?
So growing up, I had always held various leadership positions, from head cheerleader to media and communications senator, which I served as this past year and this year. So I really just want to have a voice for those who don't have the availability or the option to use theirs. I also, whenever I get older, I would like to be a news broadcaster, and I would also like to transfer what I'm learning in SGA and running as senator to my future career of, being a news broadcaster, and have the opportunity to use my voice there too.
Gotcha. And then what are your goals while in the Senate?
So some of my goals while I'm in the Senate would be things on campus that we have discussed this year also that I would like to see carried out into this next year. So things like free feminine hygiene products is one of the things that I think is really important that I'm actually going to be co-sponsoring on this Senate. Lighting on campus. I also really like congratulatory pieces, just because it's like that extra oomph of, hey, like, you did an amazing job. This is what Texas Tech is doing. This is what we stand for. Like, these are the people that come to Texas Tech and the leadership at Texas Tech, and we get to like congratulate them on that. And that just feels really special to me and really sentimental. So that's just some of the stuff that I'm working on now. As for next minute, whenever I run for at-large, with everything going on in COVID, we're not really sure on how everything's going to look. So whenever we get there, I would like to reassess some of the things that I think could be helped whenever we get to that point.
Okay. And then what platforms are you running on?
So I'm running on the Raiderland Renewed platform.
Okay. And what do you think that you can offer students on campus?
So I believe that my diversity in a lot of the organizations that I'm in, from Pi Beta Phi, the President Select Program, Student Body Government, Alpha Lambda Delta Honor Society, things like that, it gives me a very diverse group to go off of and represent. So I wouldn't necessarily be representing just Pi Phi, or, the sorority that I'm in, or be representing just the people that I hang around in my house and my friend groups. I think I have a lot of diversity in my friend groups, a lot of diversity when it comes to, like, my leadership skills and my friend groups in general. So I believe that I can represent a very large, diverse group of people.
Yeah. And then what challenges do you think you'll face next semester?
So the biggest challenge, I think, would probably be COVID. We've been a part of this pandemic for over a year now, and I really do think Texas Tech has handled that in the best way possible, from social distancing classes, online classes, and as much as I would love things to be in person, I think the best thing that SGA can do is just continue to press for, social distancing, talk to teachers about what we can do to better serve the students and make them feel like they are getting that college experience. As for running for at-large this next semester, again, I don't know where we're going to stand on that whenever we get there, because that is, almost a whole semester away, and, things are constantly changing. But I definitely would like to reassess that with the student body government whenever we get there.
Yeah. Okay, and then are you a part of any coalition, and if so, what platform are they running on?
Could you explain to me what you mean by coalition?
I guess, are you a part of, any group that's running, or are you, running by yourself?
Oh, yeah. I'm running with Raiderland Renewed.
Okay. And then, so that was all the questions I had for you. Was there anything else that you wanted to add?
No, just that I'm excited to be a part of this and excited to run and represent the student government to the best of my ability, and I hope I can make people's voices heard.
So my name is James Brady. I'm an agricultural communications major with a political science minor, and I am running to hopefully be your one of your at-large student body senators.
Perfect. And then what made you run for the Senate?
One thing that I regretted from freshman year, I took a gap semester from the time I graduated high school to when I entered Texas Tech in the spring of 2019. And one of the things I regretted about not being at Texas Tech in the fall of 2018 was that I couldn't get involved with freshman Senate then. I tried to get involved last time, but I missed the filing deadline. I had some other stuff going down, working for a local congressman, and was just too busy at that time. But I got in touch with Faisal Al-Hamoud, who's a good friend of mine, who's running as our student body this time around. And I've always really wanted to do this. I love Texas Tech, and I've always wanted to help represent it and promote it and progress it forward towards a better world-class university that we all know it is. And I wanted to get involved, and Faisal offered me a chance to run with the Raiderland Renewed campaign as an at-large senator, and I jumped at it. And so I'm proud to be running with him and our wonderful external vice president candidate, Abigail Nwachukwu, and our wonderful internal vice president, Talon Antonik, and our graduate vice president, Jarrett Lujan. So I'm really excited for this campaign, even though I'm 350 miles away. And I am really excited at the prospect of being able to represent the university, which I've loved my whole life and will continue to love, and my fellow students.
Perfect. And then what are some of your goals if you were to be elected to the Senate?
Well, so Raiderland Renewed has a couple of initiatives. We've got 4 initiatives, and those are affordability, diversity, equity and inclusion, wellness, and campus life. And so some of my goals would be to really focus on wellness and then affordability. The state legislature deregulated tuition in 2003, and ever since then, tuition prices have shot up. My parents attended Texas Tech University. It's where my mom and dad went, and when they were in school, they were paying $1,500 a year. And I'm sure, as you know, we are now paying $10,000 a year. That wasn't in 1970. That wasn't in 1980. My parents graduated in 1995, so about 25 years ago. The idea that tuition could go up 1,000% for students in 25 years is ridiculous, but it is what it is. And so really what we want to focus with at the undergraduate level, and what I'd like to focus with at the undergraduate level, is being able to make sure that amenities and the things we need as students are affordable. So a big thing we're going to be looking at hopefully next year is textbook costs. And what we really want to strive for is inclusive access and being able to pay for our textbooks through tuition. Data shows that people do better in class if they have the book on the first day versus if they don't, because usually after they don't have the book on the first day, they get demotivated to get the book, and they tend not to do better, and they just try to wing it. I've definitely done that before, and it's not a successful or smart approach, but it's most of the time to no fault of their own. Textbooks are an average cost of $800 to $1,200 for a semester. They're exorbitant. And so what we'd like to do as the student council, as Raiderland Renewed, the student senate, is really try to drive that down and be able to help our fellow students pay for that more. In addition, we'd also like to, COVID-19 has thrown a wrench in a lot of our lives. So this past year, we took away the sports fee to get us access into sporting events for the Red Raiders. And we'd like to, post-COVID, be able to retrieve those low-cost fees for our students to get in to sporting events and other amenities that we had before COVID, and that we will have again, because this will end in due time. And we want to make sure that our students still have the ability to pay for those within reason and still have access to those. In addition, I really want to focus on wellness as a student senator. We need to focus on making sure that every single student has food in our university. The fact of the matter is, when the belly's working, the mind's working. And there have been plenty of studies to show that hungry students don't do well. Food is an essential item, as well as shelter and water. And we need to make sure through things like the food pantry and SGA endowed scholarships, which we'd like to propose and form, that students have access to essential necessities, whether they're on campus or they're off campus, and make sure that they're being taken care of at the basic levels in order to help them succeed as much as possible. And then something that is not necessarily part of Raiderland Renewed, our platform, but that I have a personal stake in, is getting back into the classroom. Like I said, COVID-19 has thrown a wrench in our lives, and it's been awful, and we need to stay the course and making sure to mitigate risk. But there's a dual side to it, in that the hybrid and online moving to classes has really impacted a lot of students in their ability to learn. It impacted my ability to learn last semester. And so I'd personally like to see, as a state senator, good Lord, I'm getting my jobs mixed up. As a student senator, initiatives that get us back into the classroom in a safe manner, but that get us present, because there really is no substitute for in-person instruction. So those are kind of some of the goals that I'd like. That's probably longer than you wanted, but those are some of the goals that that I'd like to work towards as an at-large senator. And I hope that my fellow Red Raiders agree with my take on those. And so, yeah.
Perfect. And then what can you offer to the students on campus next semester if elected?
Well, my job this semester is interesting in going through the legislative process. I've held leadership positions on campus, whether that be through the Agri-Texans, or working on, committees within my fraternity, Phi Delta Theta, on campus. And so I can offer, hopefully I can offer leadership, being able to get stuff done, working hard for my fellow students, to make sure that our access to things and the price we pay for amenities at Texas Tech, or just how we learn, is protected and cared for from a student point of view. So, yeah.
And then what challenges do you think you will face if elected into the Senate next semester?
Well, a big challenge that we're going to face is the COVID-19 pandemics. I've got a feeling that it's going to continue on throughout the summer. There are some estimates that say we'll be back to normal by April. I think that's a little optimistic. Not to say that optimism is a bad thing, but I think it's a little bit overly optimistic. Dr. Fauci says he thinks we can be back to normal by Christmas. So next fall, we're going to face those challenges, I think, still. And being able to mitigate COVID-19 risk, being able to get shots in arms in students and staff, to make sure that our teachers are protected as well as we are, and making sure that the people are taking the proper precautions, is going to be very important. We're going to have a struggle, I think, getting textbooks included in the tuition. But it's a fight that I think Faisal Ahmoud is willing to fight, that Ibarra is willing to fight, that Taylor's willing to fight, and that I know I'm willing to fight. Because the fact of the matter is that nobody should have to pay $1,200 for books for your education. That's just ridiculous. So that's going to be a fight, but it's one I'm prepared to roll up my sleeves and punch it out and work towards a better tomorrow for our students.
Perfect. And before we end this interview, would you like to add anything else?
I hope my fellow students will go out and vote for me, but more importantly, go out and vote for Faisal and Ibarra and Taylor and Jarrett on March 16th. I hope through this interview, I can show my fellow students that I'm willing to fight for them and make sure that they have a better tomorrow on campus. And I also hope that they'll go and follow my social media accounts at official James Brady and at my Twitter account at official J Brady, and go friend me on Facebook. Let's be friends. If you've got ideas, let's talk about those. Unfortunately, I won't be in Lubbock much this semester to do a whole lot of in-person campaigning, but just because I'm down in Austin doesn't mean I don't care about this university. I've cared about this university literally since the time I was born. My mother has pictures of me in a Texas Tech polo at 6 months sitting out in front of the fountain. So I have literally loved Texas Tech since the day I was born down here in Austin, Texas. And I love Texas Tech, and I hope that my fellow students will give me an opportunity to represent them and to fight for a better future.
Hi, my name is Kellie Schwendiman. I'm a political science major here at Tech, and I am running for a senator position for the Honors College. So there are a few things that really made me decide to run for senator this year, but the first one is that I had such an amazing experience in the First Year Leadership Association, which is within student government. I got to serve as secretary, and I also had the opportunity to intern for our student body president, Hunter Heck. That was truly an amazing experience because I got to see firsthand how much of an impact students have on campus. I got to see brainstorming, to writing legislation, to presenting legislation on the Senate floor, to passing it. So I really understand the cycle of legislation and what it takes to get change done here on campus. But second, I'm really passionate about leadership. One of my favorite quotes that I tell people all the time, it's by Abby Wambach, who's a famous soccer player. She said, if you're not a leader on the bench, don't call yourself a leader on the field. You're either a leader everywhere or nowhere. And I just really relate to her version and how she defines leadership. To me, I see it as a responsibility. I have a duty to represent the Honors College here on campus if I were to be elected as senator, and it would truly be an honor to do so. As far as my goals, if I were to serve as senator, the most important thing to me is having a transparent and representative term. I really want us to show the diversity of our campus. We have so many amazing voices that need to be heard. I want it to be very transparent, the problems we're having on campus, the challenges we're facing, what makes us struggle here on campus so that we can fix it and address it. And so that's one of my biggest goals going into this campaign. As far as the platforms I'm running on, one of the biggest ones actually has to do with parking and transportation. So right now, the Honors College, the actual residential hall, it's a hub for traffic right now. We have the Starbucks, the Chick-fil-A, Einstein Bagels, and right now, many people turn on their hazards, they run in to get something, and this creates traffic jams almost every day. And as our acceptance rates goes up, as we're receiving more new Red Raiders every year, we're having a problem keeping this influx of students on campus in a healthy way, and in a safe way. And so I feel like that's something that I really want to work on with transportation and parking and see if it would be possible to make this a safer environment for students to not have this hold up, to have traffic flow more easily. Second, I really want to improve upon the class selection for honors students. So as honors students, we have to complete a certain number of honors credits, courses, hours, etc. And I really want to make sure that people's interests, their specialties, what applies to their major, that it's available so that it's feasible for them to graduate with honors. And furthermore, another initiative that I'm running for on this platform is that we have a better student-professor relationship here on campus in our honors classes. These professors are amazing. They do so much for our university, whether it's research or the classes they provide us with. And I just really feel like our students can learn from them. We have so much to learn. And so the more feasible and accessible it is for us to talk to them, for us to reach out, for us to get to know them, the more relationships, networks, connecting we can do with them. And I really feel like that will be beneficial for our students. And as far as what I can offer for the students on campus, I'm really going to go back to that transparency and representativeness. One thing I'm really big on is I don't want to get my name out there just so I can put it on a resume or that I can boost my ego or my arrogance. That's not why I want my name to be out there. I want my name to be out there so people feel comfortable coming with me, being honest, telling me what they don't like about tech or what they do like about tech and they don't want to change. I want to be a voice of reason, someone that people can talk to and know that their concerns are heard and they're valid and they're taken seriously. I feel like as senators, and if I were to be elected as a senator, it would be my duty to be representative of the voices within the Honors College and be a voice for them. And so that's something I can really promise is that I will be a voice of reason, that I will listen to their concerns, and know that they will be represented here on campus. As far as what challenges we will be facing this next semester, bottom line is we don't know what this next semester is going to look like. We don't know what the state of this world is going to be at this point, whether that be more in-person classes, less in-person classes. We just truly don't know at this point. And so I feel like the role of student government is to make whatever transition we have to face as easy and successful as possible. The most important thing is student success and that students are thriving here on campus. We saw this past year that some students really excelled in online classes. They liked the mix of hybrids, where others, they weren't retaining the material as easily. Their grades were heavily affected by the COVID-19 situation that we're all facing. And it's just a reality for us college students. And so I really want to ensure that no matter what happens, no matter what we're faced with, no matter what struggle is thrown at us next, that next semester we continue to improve campus life, that we make that transition easier, that we listen to the concerns of students and what they're struggling with going to college in the middle of a pandemic and really listen to them and hear their thoughts and feedbacks on that. So yes, I am a part of the Raiderland Renewed block. I'm so excited to be running on this campaign. This is a group of so many talented individuals with so many years of experience, whether that be academically, personally, et cetera, et cetera. They're all amazing. They have so much legislation that they've already passed in student government, and then some people are running for the first time. So we really have a wide mix of people ready to serve. And so we have a lot of platforms that we're running on this year. We have a lot of things we're wanting to do with affordability, whether that be more transparency with fees, how we're going to allocate the budget. We're doing work on wellness with the food pantry, with specific SGA scholarships. As far as campus life goes, we're wanting to really focus on those admission rates. How do we keep what makes tech appealing while also accepting new Red Raiders every year? And then, of course, also we want to break down the polarization that is happening on campus as far as DEI is concerned. So really, I encourage everyone to look more into our platforms. That's just like a brief little synopsis of what we're running on. But the information's out there on all of our social media pages at Raiderland Renewed. So I really encourage everyone to just educate yourselves on what we're running on. If you like something, if you don't like something, I know we're all open to hear any concern, any feedback, both negative and positive. We want to hear from the student body. And finally, I just like to add, I really want to encourage everyone to use your voice here on campus, educate yourselves, see what people are running on, see what you want people to represent you with this year. You get to pick your senators, you get to pick who's writing legislation on behalf of the student body. So really, I just hope that everyone goes out and votes. Website ttu.edu/vote/ March 16th and 17th. And I hope everyone gets out and votes. So thank you so much.
My name is Addie Thane. I'm a sophomore finance and accounting double major, and I'm running for at-large senator. I chose to run for the Senate this year because I really wanted to give back to Texas Tech and serve my university and get involved. And I'm super grateful for this opportunity because I wasn't involved in SGA last year, but I think it's awesome that anyone can get involved with SGA at any year, so I'm super excited for this opportunity. And really, I just wanted to get more involved with the university as a whole and make some changes on campus. After being a student at Texas Tech for a year, I think it's really interesting to hear all my friends and my peers' opinions on different things. And when you're just talking with your friends about how they wish there was more parking on campus or wish textbooks were cheaper, you just start to think maybe there's something I can do about that, in some way I can make a change. So that's why I want to run for Senate, just to get more involved and start to see some of these positive changes become implemented. So I am running on the campaign block Raiderland Renewed, and we have 4 buckets of initiatives that include affordability, DEI, wellness, and campus life. And I would say my main goal is to focus on affordability while in Senate. I'm super passionate about affordability because I'm super passionate about education. And when you're passionate about something, you just want to share it with everyone. And I truly believe that we should focus on making education more available for everyone and just continue to share it. And a big part of that is affordability. When you look at the less fortunate person who made it to tech, they're here, whether it's on loan money, grant money, scholarship money, but now they can't buy their textbooks. That's a real issue. So that's one of the main things I'm going to be focused on is the textbook affordability. Like I was saying, textbooks are about $800 to $1,200 on average per student per semester. So when you have someone less fortunate and that's their money, they're going to choose to buy a textbook or eat with for the semester, they're not going to buy the textbook. And studies show that students do better when they have their textbooks on the first day of class, and it's just another resource that can be used for learning and education. So we're looking at all types of different alternatives to this, looking at open education resources, OERs, which are just databases that include all subjects, looking at that as an alternative for textbooks, or just making them all on Blackboard, just there, like hyperlinked for your classes, to make that more easily accessible and have that through your tuition. Of course, with every idea, there are positives and negatives to everything. So that's something that's really going to take a lot of creative thinking and innovation throughout the year that we'll be serving in SGA. But I think that's something that I really want to focus on is affordability. Another big thing involving campus life as we return to this new normal. I mean, as the mask mandate was just lifted and everything, how's that going to look for the campus? There are just a lot of new questions that have to be answered, so I think that's going to be another goal of mine as well. I sort of touched on some of the platforms I'll be running on with Raiderland Renewed, but I can go more in depth into some more of them. Like I was saying, in terms of campus life, as we're returning back to higher capacities and what this means for the university and just student life on campus. One thing we're looking at is, when classes have higher capacities now, there's going to be more students on campus, which means less parking. Parking's been really available recently, which has been awesome, but when we return to higher capacity classes, how is this going to change? So I think maybe looking at more parking or different parking options is going to be really important in the near future. And another thing that is really awesome about this campaign is we're focused on student wellness, and part of it is helping others and giving back to others. The SGA food pantry has been out and about. You can check out that on our Instagram, learn more about that on T2SGA Instagram. But just incentivizing donations, encouraging students to donate, whether it be $10, $5, $1, to those less fortunate, and the food pantry just taking this time while we're all struggling through this new normal, quote-unquote new normal I keep talking about, just to take that time to give back to others and encourage wellness for students of all types, all backgrounds, and just including everyone. And that also leads into our DEI initiative, just expanding everyone, including everyone, and making sure that we're all in this together as one university and one campus. What can I offer students on campus? So after going through all my goals and initiatives, I think it's pretty obvious that I'm super passionate about student life and improving that for everyone. So really, I'm just looking to be a voice for the people. I just want to be there to listen and hear students' ideas, students' complaints, students' goals, anything that people want to be heard, and be that voice for them in the Senate. And I just think that's super awesome about SGA, that students are coming together to represent everyone on campus and get everyone's initiatives heard and get their goals accomplished. And that's really a huge goal for mine, is just to be a voice for everyone on campus. That's also why I chose to run at large and why I'm super excited about that. So if anyone wants to contact me with any ideas or questions or anything, I'm so open to that. I love meeting new people, especially on campus. And I'm really looking forward to hopefully be that voice and serve my university in that way. We are definitely going to be facing all sorts of challenges next semester. I mean, just with what's happened this week with the mask mandate and everything, there's so many unknown questions moving forward. Are we increasing capacity? If we are, by how much? What is this going to look like for student life? Just so many unknowns, and that can be a little scary, but that's also super exciting, and something that I'm looking forward to is serving in this unknown time, because it opens the door for a lot of creativity, a lot of innovative thinking, and a lot of positive changes to be made. And I think that's what we're seeing with everything that's happened in the past year. It's really just an opportunity to improve. So with all the challenges facing next semester, with increasing capacity, what that's going to look like on campus in terms of parking, creating a positive community for first-year students on campus, dorm life, how is that going to change? What's that going to look like? So many unanswered questions, like I said. But hopefully, if I do get elected, this will just be an opportunity for me to make everyone's voices heard in the Senate and just be a positive reinforcement of all of the opportunities that this next semester will bring for us at Tech. I am part of a block I'm running on Raiderland Renewed, like I talked about earlier, and our initiatives include affordability, DEI, wellness, and campus life. And I did touch on all of these a little bit earlier, but I think our platform is really unique and really awesome, and really opens the door to a lot of positive changes in this unknown time that we're facing right now. And I really support all of our initiatives, and I'm really looking forward to get those heard and get the ball rolling and just get in the Senate if I do get elected, and just start accomplishing our goals, because I do believe that they'll bring a ton of positive changes to campus, and I'm really excited to be able to talk about those more once we start getting closer to election, and letting everyone on campus hear about our goals and initiatives and how much we just can't wait to serve y'all. The only thing I have to add is to check us out on social media at Raiderland Renewed. We have a lot of exciting posts coming up as we get closer to elections, so I really would just love for everyone to see those and see more of our campaign. Also, check me out on social media. I'm Addie Thane on everything if you want to get in contact with me. I'd love to hear your voice, like I said earlier, and meet new people and talk to you about why I think you should vote for me for at-large senator. But thank you so much for having me. This was so fun, and I'm really looking forward to the upcoming elections. Recum.
My name is Adeola. I'm a junior civil engineering major, and I'm running as a senator for the College of Engineering. What made me run for the Senate? Well, for me, it was due to COVID. Last semester, the whole sudden transitioning from in-person to online classes, it was a big switch for me. It was a big challenge because it wasn't what I was used to. As an engineer, most of what we deal with is outdoors. The structures we build, they're all outdoors. And so having to suddenly switch to a new learning style, it was definitely a massive challenge. And it literally took me like half of the semester to find the balance. And even speaking with, my classmates, my colleagues, they felt the same way. And, this literally motivated me to bring in, the issue before the Student Government Association, and that is actually why I'm running as a senator. My goals while in the Senate, definitely my main goal will be to push for more in-person classes, more of the hybrid style, so that way we have, a little of the face-to-face interaction. But, before we get to that stage, I'm looking to see if it's possible to increase the class participation grades and reduce the exam grades. And I say this because with classes being online, most instructors have their exams open book, open note, because there is no way to actually supervise, what you're accessing during the exam. And so it's more like a class exercise as against an exam because it's open note, and so if we can actually take part of those percentage and add it to class participation, then that way students are motivated to actually show up to like their online class. They're actually motivated to be engaged. They are motivated to study more. But if, the grades are the same and like because the participation grades are like, 10, 5%, it's not really, there's really no motivation there. But if you can increase it, that way people are more interested in actually being involved in classes. What platforms am I running on? I'm running on the Raiderland Renewed platform, and basically this platform is aimed at accommodating a wider range of students, a wider range of, current and prospective students. So we are looking on things like affordability, where we can reduce the cost of textbooks. We're looking at diversity, equity, and inclusion. Make the campus a more diverse atmosphere. Wellness, expand the food pantry. Get more scholarships out there. Campus life. Just making sure people feel more involved and they feel more engaged, especially during this era, this COVID period, because COVID has given us a stain. It has given us a mindset, and so trying to adapt and come out of this is what we are looking to do on the platform. What can I offer students on campus? Honestly, I'm a simple person. I have a simple personality. What motivated me was because I wanted to be a voice for my college, for my constituency, which is the College of Engineering. And so for me, I'm just going to come as I am. I'm going to be a voice to them. I'm going to offer my ears, offer my voice, let them know that they actually have a voice, that they are able to get their matters attended to. If, like I said earlier, I spoke with my colleagues, with my classmates, and because they felt the same way, I was like, let me take the bold step and actually be a voice here. But if, on the other hand, I was the only one, or there was no one who actually felt the same I was feeling, then maybe I may not have been motivated to, run for the Senate because it was just me. But the fact that, people are going through these things, it motivated me that, okay, let me be a voice for them. I know what they're going through. This is my third year. I've had, an idea of pre-COVID and now like the COVID era. So like, I feel like just being open-minded, being willing to listen to their complaints. Don't just go to become a senator for your personal benefits, but actually make a difference and be a voice for your people. So that is just what I have to offer, just my voice, What challenges do I think I'll face next semester? Definitely the transition, out of COVID. I mean, like life post-COVID. First of all, there is no going back to pre-COVID. It's not possible. Whether we like it or not, COVID has given us a permanent thing. It has given us a mindset. Take, for instance, prior to COVID, when you go to a class and you see a student with a mask on, you're like, well, why are you having a mask on? You're not supposed to have that. Like, that is not normal. Like, what's going on? But now you go to a class and you see a student without a mask and you be like, okay, well, you should have a mask on. So it has literally flipped our mindset. And so being able to reverse that totally is not going to be possible. What we can do is to find a way to smoothly transition, and that is where the challenge is going to be. I mean, thankfully, vaccines are rolling out, people are becoming more comfortable. But to effectively transition is going to be a lot of challenge. It's going to be a big challenge for students, and so that is the biggest challenge that I'll be facing next semester. What else would I like to add? Well, firstly, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to be on this podcast. It's an honor, and I just want to let people out there that I'm running as a senator because I truly want to make a difference. I'm a community advisor, and I have residents, freshmen, freshman engineering students who literally struggle with life on campus. They are literally terrified because they don't have the experience of what an ideal college life should be, and so they get this feeling of, I can't do this anymore, which, I mean, you won't blame them because this is definitely not the best time to be a freshman, but it's an obstacle that we all have to overcome. And that is why I really, really want to, make a difference. Like I said earlier, I'm not doing this for my, personal gain or whatnot, but I truly want to impact. I want to help my residents. I want to help my colleagues. I want to help people coming behind me, just help people in general. And yeah, that's all I have.
Hello, my name is Addie Sparks, and I am a sociology major with a concentration in criminology, and I am running for an arts and science senator position. One thing that really made me want to run for Senate is currently I am in FYLA, which is the First Year Leadership Association. I am the intern under Student Body President Hunter Heck, and being an FYLA, it really shows you what the Student Senate is like and shows you what student government is. And honestly, I just fell in love with everything that has to do with student government. Seeing students helping other students and students having such a big impact on campus, I just loved everything about that. And that is one of the things that made me want to run for Senate. One of the goals that I hope to see if I do become a senator is kind of that communication, that our door is always open. We are always willing and able to hear the student side of things. We are student government. We are the voice of the students on campus, and we wouldn't be student government without the students of Texas Tech and their input and their goals and their hopes and dreams. And I really just want, my goals are to have that communication between the students and communication between the faculty as well. My personal platforms that I am running on is I want to see student organizations within the College of Arts and Science. You know, the College of Arts and Sciences is one of the biggest colleges on campus with the most majors and minors of any other college. And yet, I feel like it's one of the more underrepresented colleges. The Rawls College of Business, for example, has many student organizations within the college itself. And I think Human Sciences even has something very similar. And Arts and Sciences doesn't have this. And with it being the biggest college on campus and having the most majors and being the most diverse, I really think those student organizations will help our students and help people find their cliques and help people study per se, and I just really think that they will help the students overall. I also am interested in creating undergraduate research within the College of Arts and Science. As you probably know, there is many research opportunities for honors students, and there's not that many research opportunities for people not in the honors college. And me, for example, I am not in the honors college, but I'm in the arts and science college, and I am extremely interested in research, and that's not easy for me to do. It's not as accessible as it is if I was an honors student, and I find a problem with this. You know, I think all students, regardless if they are in the honors college, are interested in research, and having a research available for students in the College of Arts and Sciences, I think will prove to be beneficial. One thing I can really offer students on campus if I am chosen to be a senator is, like I said before, communication. You know, I was a freshman this year during COVID-19. It's very hard. I mean, you wonder if your voice is being heard. You wonder if your problems are the same as everybody else's problems. And I want to be that person there for students of all kinds, freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors. And I really want to just be there and have that open door policy kind of thing and just really talk with our students and see what they want and see what problems they are having and see what things they want to be done. Because after all, student government, like I said before, is for the students. One of the challenges I think we will face next semester, even as a whole student body, is uncertainty. You know, each week, each day, even each month, there is uncertainty with COVID-19, and we don't know what next semester is going to look like. We don't even know what next month is going to look like. So I feel like there's definitely that feeling of uncertainty because we don't know if we're going to be in person. We don't know if masks are going to be required. We don't know if we're all going to be online again. So I feel like that's going to be one of the biggest challenges. And if we are in person and everything is back to normal, you're going to have that challenge of getting back to somewhat of a normal college life because we haven't seen that in over a year. I actually am part of a block. I'm part of the Raiderland Renewed block, and we are running on about 4 key points. And those are affordability, diversity, equity, and inclusion, wellness, and campus life. And going into a little bit more detail about that last one, campus life, you know, as campus life is getting back to normal, we want to resume our partnerships with things like Limes and Raider Ride and really just kind of make campus as normal as we can. But, you know, returning to a type of normalcy does not mean return to an absolute normal of what things used to be. You know, we need to learn our lessons from things that may have gone wrong last year. You know, we need to learn and grow and not return to an absolute normal, but just try to like get back to that college experience and get back to that college life we all know. And I feel like that's going to be something that's going to be very important next year as COVID is maybe not starting to be as present and maybe people getting more vaccines and things like that. So one last thing I would like to add is to make sure and go and vote for senators and for your executives. And voting happens on March 16th and 17th. Just log on to www.sga.ttu.edu. Voting opens at 9 a.m. and closes at 7. And we would really like to see a greater number of Red Raiders vote this year. and to make sure your voices are being heard, and, you know, vote for those people that are going to listen to you and are going to make you heard. And I look forward to the opportunity to represent such an incredible college and university. Rackham Tech.
So that was all of the candidates that decided to come on to the podcast.
And we have many more planned coming for the next podcast.
Yes.
So we invite all the candidates to come reach out to me at the Daily Toreador and at my email to schedule a time to come and record for the last session. As like I said, all candidates were given the equal opportunity to record for this podcast. And then at the end of next podcast, we'll say which senators have not reached out to me or declined the offer. That is all the time we have, Red Raiders. Thank you so much for listening to the Political Dive. Be sure to pick up your copy of the Daily Toreador this coming Thursday and keep up to date with all things tech on our website, dailytoreador.com. Also, be sure to interact with us and the rest of the staff on our Twitters. You're listening to the Political Dive.
You're listening to a production of the Matador Beat.